Welcome to Late Night Movie Reviews.
Hell yeah. Roadhouse.
Roadhouse is out. You probably already watched it. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Everyone has Amazon, so it's basically free.
That's true.
Watch it. First reactions. We just watched a few clips just to freshen it in our memory a little bit. First impressions, go.
Well, I'm going to have to go with, I think I'm going to start with the fight scene. Fight scene's probably a good place to begin with Post Malone. Started off okay. The final
It's a
knockout.
good opener, the fight scene. Good opener.
Final knockout. You could tell they were going for like a fight night kind of deal, that old boxing video game where he does the knockout. And I can honestly say that's probably the worst CGI I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, the CGI really bothered you. In general, though, fight scenes in the new 2024 version, fight scenes entertaining. Fight scenes probably the best part about it, I would say. Interesting camera angles. Obviously, Jake Gyllenhaal, crazy, excellent shape. Conor McGregor, excellent shape. Visually, I liked it. Obviously, maybe as a whole, in comparison to the old one, not impressed.
I think that they did a good job making some of the hits look hard. I appreciated that. But with every good hit, I would say there was at least one bad hit that didn't sell for me. So I can't say the fight scenes were good. They were definitely a highlight, but
Entertaining, at least.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, are you disappointed that you watched the movie?
Kinda.
Oh, okay. I wasn't. I had fun. It was a fun enough ride. I'm going to talk about what I thought in comparison to the original. But the original was much better. I just rewatched that last night to check in because I had never actually seen it. I watched the new one first and then watched the Swayze version.
Okay.
So I would say perhaps that's influencing my decision, but I would say the Jake Gyllenhaal version was entertaining enough. I had a fun Amazon free movie. Enjoyed myself. I wasn't mad. Wasn't impressed. But the original, much better.
Well, I haven't seen the original in a long time, so let me ask you. Is Patrick Swayze's character a good guy?
Ooh, that's the question everyone wants to know. I mean, this is what's wild about the original. A lot of people die in it. Yeah. Swayze rips a guy's throat out in this movie.
I remember.
It is outrageous. What I loved about the original is it is pure 80s funds. They're fun. There's gratuitous nudity. There are huge explosions, car chases. There are Ferraris, Mustangs. And at the end, people die. It is like dramatic. People get shot. Swayze literally, I want to say it again, rips the main bad guy villain, who is the Conor McGregor character in this one, fights him by the lake. It rips his throat out, throws him in the lake towards his boss. It is wild.
That does sound like a good movie. Those sound like good reasons to watch the old one.
Huge explosions, like 80s real explosions, like buildings blew up for no reason.
That sounds great. I wish they did any of that in the new one. They don't.
They didn't.
They don't.
They took the basic story, so like instead of living on a farm, he lived in a houseboat in the new one.
Let me stop being a hater, dude. Let me talk about the things I liked, okay?
Bring me some
talk
positive.
About the things I liked. Jake Gyllenhaal was in really good shape and sometimes would have a funny line. They had some good segues, and I think he sold a lot of the punches, not all of the punches, but a fair enough amount. The weird thing about the fight scenes in this movie it's not that they're all CGI. Like, the CGI is bad, but when they're not CGI, it's this weird combination of really good, high impactful looking fight scene with like WWE punches, like intermingled in between.
That's probably how you do good movie fight scenes. Yeah, I agree. I enjoyed the fight scenes. Jake, we got to highlight in case I didn't already. Jake Gyllenhaal put in the work. Body phenomenal. The only body I can think of maybe he had better was when he played the boxer in Southpaw, but he still looked amazing. That's debatable. We talked about that earlier. Jake looked phenomenal. He looked like an MMA fighter for real. He was the deal to go up against Conor McGregor. He brought his A game.
Mm-hmm.
How'd you feel, though, about his acting performance?
I don't know, because I don't know what his characters. I don't believe that his character just can't turn it off. Like once he starts fighting people, I think he's a serial killer. I think he enjoys murdering people.
Well, the interesting thing about the beginning of the new one is the movie starts by him trying to off himself on the train tracks.
Right. I think he tried to off himself because he's a murderer, a serial murderer, and
That's an MMA fighter.
He like that was his first kill, and he got a taste of blood, and now he just wants to murder.
A very interesting take.
And he
on
tries not to, but once he lets it out of the bag, I got to murder now.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't stop. But Conor McGregor.
Go ahead.
I don't blame you for how bad you are in this movie. You are bad in this movie, Conor. Please don't hurt me. But it's not your fault, right? Because you act all the time in your job. Like, I've seen you play the character, and I've seen you knock it out of the park. If they would have just not put lines in front of you and said, I want you to pretend like you're talking to Nate Diaz right now, but instead of saying Nate, say whatever this guy's name is and just say whatever you want to say, he would have knocked it out of the park. But being charismatic and able to like ad-lib as yourself and reading plot-specific lines off a page, it was bad. His line deliveries were definitely line deliveries. I'll tell you that. And he was like wide-eyed all the time and just wild. They should have just just be you.
It's unfortunate. I think it was what I expected. I think he brought great energy to the fight scenes. His acting was just very flat, one-dimensional, and he's very new to it. You're right. I think probably director could have utilized him a little better, used some of that newness in just a better way. I think you probably maybe put a little too much on him.
Yeah, they had him reading way too many lines.
Too many lines to make it, I don't know, just more engaging.
Yeah.
But once again, fight scenes were fun. I'm going to go back to the original Swayze movie. It just really underperformed. So fight scenes were probably one-on-one better, but the Swayze movie, the original, the stakes were higher. Like, people were getting shot and just put down so much more often. So I feel like the stakes were higher in the first one. All in all, better complete movie. Some things I did like that carried over, the band behind the steel fence.
I remember that.
That's fun. People throwing bottles out of it. That's from the original. A couple scenes, the waitress bringing him breakfast, original. A lot of cool carryovers in that way. But man, did the ending of the Swayze movie was just blew my mind. It was an 80s action explosion extravaganza.
Roadhouse is dope. Did the villain in the original crash his car every time he went somewhere? Or was that just Conor McGregor?
I think it was just Conor McGregor. So his character was more like the sidekick of the main boss villain. Main boss villain probably had a bigger role. The sidekick guy was just basically his ace. Probably more utilized like you wanted Conor to be. It was more just like one-liners, and he was the muscle here and there, and it worked in the movie because he just did what he needed to do.
All he had to do was just be Conor McGregor and say as little as possible, and I would have loved it. When I say I would have loved it, it would have saved the movie for me. Like, everything I don't like about this movie, which is a lot, the acting's bad across the board. Jake Gyllenhaal does the best he can, but everybody around him, other than the main villain, who I thought was actually a good actor too, like the rich kid.
Okay, so he was like the boss character.
The boss
so you liked
character.
him.
I thought he was a good actor.
Yeah, he did good.
I thought he carried with the little shit he had. The owner of the Roadhouse bar, she was so bad.
Underperformed.
So bad. I believed Post Malone's CGI punches more than I believed her.
Where are you saying the scene you hated the most when he was stabbed right in the beginning after he gets stabbed in the parking lot?
Well, I'd go back and watch the part where he gets stabbed in the stomach.
Co was not happy about this
When
scene.
she sees that he has a knife sticking out of his stomach, she goes, "Oh, wow." like straight up like, "Oh."
And then she also doesn't even give it a beat. She's like, so anyway, I need to talk to you about this Roadhouse.
This chick, did not make me believe for a second that she just saw somebody get stabbed. Like, even if she was supposed to be that kind of person that's super desensitized to people getting stabbed, she still should have given oh, shit. You turn around and you see somebody get stabbed. Even if you're desensitized, you're not going to just glaze over it with a very monotone, oh my God, you've been stabbed. It was really wildly bad. She went out of the way to be bad. Everybody else, whatever.
The original was so 80s horrific in the beginning. So in the scene where he goes to see the doctor for being stabbed, this becomes the love interest in the original. And he's when he goes to the hospital, he just brings his medical records everywhere because he's like, it's just easier. She's like 4 stab wounds, 3 bullet wounds, this fracture. Why do you bring your medical records with you? It's just easier.
Yeah, that girl was played by the chick who played Ratcatcher 2 in the Suicide Squad sequel. And she's usually pretty good. She also was serviceable.
Average.
Everybody's average. Nobody.
The whole movie is probably, like I said, I wasn't mad that I watched it, unlike you. It was entertaining, but pretty average in regard.
It was just a little let down for me. I thought at the very least, I would have been more happy with the fight scenes. They really didn't wow me. There was a couple good punches here and there, but a lot of it is shaky cam. A lot of it is, I don't know. Some of the fight scenes are good. I'm not going to lie. The first fight scene where he slaps all those guys and does all that stuff is pretty good. That's
a pretty good opening fight scene. That's pretty funny. And I like also that he drives them all to the hospital.
Right. But the fight scenes towards the end, when we are completely convinced that he's just a serial murderer, and he's trying to use this as an attempt, as a way to kill more people.
The big fights with Connor were good. I was entertained with the fight scenes once again. Jake, I thought, was very funny in a lot of moments. He was very witty, low, sarcastic. I enjoyed watching him in a lot of beats.
I just didn't think they seemed like they were for different movies. I liked the funny parts, but I felt like they were gifs of other movies he was in where he just says a funny line and then it goes back to Roadhouse. They all seemed out of place for me. They were funny. I still was haha, he's so weird.
The Conor McGregor nude scene to open his character was funny. The butt scene.
That was funny.
Well, that was a throwback. The original, there's a bunch of butt scenes of Swayze, and I think that's part. I mean, everyone was naked in the original. It was 80s, peak 80s. Everyone's half naked. Swayze gets a lot of butt action, so the ladies get some. I think that was the throwback. I think Conor McGregor was the throwback to those moments.
Swayze getting butt action is crazy.
Bro, there was so much Swayze butt action. But there was a ton of nude chicks in it too. It's pure 80s.
Yeah, no, listen. We're talking way too much about the old Roadhouse because it's great. I
think
get
the old
what
one's
you're
just
saying.
a lot better.
All right,
what else you got for the new one? Any highs, any lows?
The amount that you've talked about the old Roadhouse lets me know that you did not enjoy this movie that
probably
much.
Not as much for sure.
I feel like I don't feel like I'm hating on it. I feel like I was just let down because I thought it was going to be better.
What do you think about if it would have gone to theaters? A lot of the drama about it was, didn't go to theaters.
If it would have gone to theaters, it would have been the biggest flop ever.
Streaming probably did a good service.
Bro, people, if I had to watch Post Malone's janky arm stretch and get all weird on that punch on a big screen, I would have walked out maybe.
It's only the beginning.
Bro, that's the worst CGI punch I've ever seen.
But some of the other fight scenes I thought were really good. Like there was one where he was punching the guy and his head was bouncing off the ground. Like some of it looked really good.
But that doesn't mean the fight scene was really good. That means that those punches were really good. And I think as much as I commend you for your tolerance of how wonky a lot of those fight scenes were, one of the perfect examples is that uppercut that Jake Gyllenhaal threw in that fight scene that looked really good.
Yeah, it looked good, right?
Yeah. Right before he did that, he did a Charlie horse punch into the guy's thigh.
Thigh punch.
A thigh punch that would have never in a million years made the guy go, ooh.
Bro, you don't know about that thigh punch.
Bro, listen. That thigh punch was unrealistic, super fake, and didn't even look good. And the guy's body reaction to the thigh punch, not in any way realistic, but they did it to sell the uppercut. Okay, sell the uppercut with a different punch. Make it at least a dick punch or a stomach punch. Thigh punches? We're giving Charlie horses out here? I can't.
It's a power move.
Come on, I can't defend this shit. That shit's bad. It has some decent moments. It does, but man.
Once again, the price of admission. I'm an Amazon subscriber. I think maybe because in this regard, I'm a cheap date. It was a streaming movie I was excited about, so I wasn't like, oh,
so let me God. Let me put a disclaimer. My brother-in-law watched this movie and told me it was going to be amazing. Like told me, like he was like, this movie's great.
I wouldn't say that.
Listen, I would rather watch the original on mute and rewind in reverse than watch Roadhouse 2 again. That movie was horrible. All of the henchmen are literally acting just like the 80s henchmen. Like if that was a weird choice, but I almost think it was a choice. Like why were they all such bad actors? A lot of the jokes didn't land.
So I just found my notes from when I watched it. I scribbled a few notes.
Okay.
Here's some fun one-liners for you to match up with what you're saying. Supporting cast, weak.
Dude.
Much cheesier than Southpaw.
Bro, why are they so cheesy?
Because here's the thing I'm going to do, not for too long, but I thought Southpaw was really good. Okay. So a similar type Jake Gyllenhaal playing a fighter story, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
Southpaw, that was amazing. This one just, maybe my expectations were up there, way underperformed, not even close to that movie.
Bro, how are you even talking about Southpaw right now?
I'm saying these are some thoughts that I wrote down while I was watching it. And I was just like, man, I expected maybe because of that be a little better.
Are you guys
Conor McGregor, acting, we went over that. Final fight, Mac and Jake, too many cuts. So I felt like it was too highly edited.
Yes, thank you. I was like, bro, you were saying they were good. I was like, it was shaky cam.
I said some great shots for cinematography. Should have been a touch better. Yeah.
A touch better. Should have been a touch better. Are you seeing this, guys? He has brought up now 2 movies so that he doesn't have to talk about this movie anymore.
I'm trying.
And is still trying to pretend like it's good.
Trying Roadhouse.
Like, I swear, I'm pretty sure he's really close friends with Jake Gyllenhaal and just never told me. Because why are you defending this movie? This movie's dog shit.
Jake's our 33rd subscriber. You don't know it. Only I know.
This movie has maybe 20 good punches in it, and it's Roadhouse.
Amazon movie. I just got to go home and put it on. I think I was satisfied for what I felt like I put into it.
No. Amazon, if you're watching this, make better movies. Don't listen to him just because he's okay with dog shit. Like, this movie sucked. This movie was bad. Some of the worst CGI, some of the worst line delivery, some of the worst fight scenes. I don't know where he's getting this. These fight scenes are good. Some of them are okay. Does not mean they're good. You're discrediting yourself as a fight scene guy. Stop saying these things.
I said the ending had too many cuts, which means that they had to chop it together to make it look good. In general, fight scenes are considered better with less cuts because you can't fake it as much.
Which was why the first one where he slapped
really
all those
show
dudes
what you
was
got.
good.
Yeah, the first scene was good. You're right. But I said the ending, too many cuts. So that's probably why. That's the fight you want to see the most in depth. I mean, you have a professional fighter,
shaky cam,
Jake Gyllenhaal. You should probably try to do almost like season 1 Daredevil, a crazy long fight scene, single take. I mean, that's hard to do.
Shout out to Old Boy.
Final thoughts on
They
it.
did Conor McGregor nasty, dude. He could have been so good in that movie. He just needed guidance, and you guys set
Too
him
many
up
lines for
failure.
first role.
Too many lines.
First big role.
Why are you making him deliver them? Like, let him ad lib. Like, he's Conor McGregor.
Yeah, and let him ad lib.
Let him just try shit. and
Acting's
just-
like anything else. You got to practice. You got to, you'll just walk up and do a movie.
Bro, if we just took cuts from his old press conferences and put them in throughout the movie, it would have been amazing.
Yeah, it's different. Different trade.
Doesn't have to be. Doesn't have to be.
All in all, what do you think your rating as a whole? You ready to rate it? Give it a grade.
A D plus.
Dang, I'm gonna go B minus minus minus, slight C.
What?
Just because I
B?
wasn't mad because it was on Amazon.
No,
and I didn't have to
stop
pay for
doing
it.
that. No,
It's nice.
no. That
Other
mo-
than that, if I had to take it to theaters, we'll give her a C plus.
okay,
Because I enjoy fights.
so it's a C plus, not a B minus minus.
Minus because Amazon, baby. I like streaming movies. Netflix, Amazon. I'm more forgiving because I like that they just show up for me. I like it. I'm happy with that service they provide.
No, not that one. There's plenty of better streaming movies with smaller budgets.
Swayze original A plus. 80s horrific. Go watch
Roadhouse
that.
Go watch that.
Go watch that.
Watch that twice instead of watching Roadhouse 2. Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. You know what it is. Like, is it the worst movie ever? No. If you go into it expecting something good, though,
But if you come home from work and just want to watch a movie for the night, perfect.
if you're like sad in life or you're feeling down about yourself and you want to shit on someone else, maybe put that on. It'd be
Oh, come on. It's a fun, entertaining movie. That's what you show up for. A couple fun fights, and that's it. It's bar fights, fight scenes. Have a blast. It's good enough.
Watch Roadhouse 1.
It's like
Roadhouse 1 is everything he just said, but good.
It's like a male Hallmark movie on Amazon.
I don't like it. They should do us better.
Late night reviews out.